All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the MIDCONVO podcast. It's your boys, Paul and Ed, back with another episode.
Hello.
We got a good episode for you guys today. We have a guest here.
Corey Jenkins, everybody.
Let's go.
Howdy.
If you guys are like, who is Corey Jenkins?
Well, Google him.
You're about to find out in this episode. So let's roll intro music. What's up, Corey?
What's up, Ed?
How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Just been editing all day, so it's nice to get outside and talk with you boys for a little bit.
Yeah, dude. So it's cool because I'll let you intro yourself here in a second, but you're based in like Miami with Paul.
Yep.
Same area, and I'm from Seattle, but I'm here in Miami for like a week working on another project, so we're all actually able to be here live and official. If you guys want to watch the video, it'll be on YouTube. But yeah, Corey, can you give us a little intro of what you do?
Yeah, tell us what's going on.
Yeah, so I am a sports advertising photographer. I take photos and also do cinematography of sweaty people is the best way to describe it. So the fitness industry, the sports industry, those are kind of my niches with what I do. And I've been shooting full time for a little over 10 years now. And, you know, started out as a kid downhill mountain biking, taking photos of my friends, and somehow turned that into a career, which has been fun. So, you know, 10 years later, we're in Miami.
That's amazing. What was that camera that you had when you first started?
Nikon D80. It was,
shout out to the Nikon fam.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a potato.
Dude, I don't know how I shot like anything remotely useful on it. Like you couldn't shoot over ISO, I don't know, 400 without it being just completely blurry.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you say that first camera, I mean, it taught you all the settings and technicalities of how to operate a DSLR?
Dude, I learned everything.
Yeah.
And I was also like so motivated to learn more because like it was so limited, you know? But, you know,
That's
back in
awesome.
the time, that was like the camera to have. And, you know, that's what my dad had laying around. So I just used that.
That's cool.
Dope. Do you, all right, guys, just for some context too, we're filming outside, so you might hear some cars,
Airplanes,
some gunshots.
So if yeah, we ain't in the hood. We're not gonna see some gunshots.
No, I'm kidding.
But yeah, no. Paul lives in a nice little suburbs, and we might hear some cars. I just feel like I need to say that.
No, that's fine.
Because people might be like, "What is that?
Yeah.
What is that sound in the back?" But
Yeah, we're trying to get creative with every location. If you guys watch the YouTube videos, and we also post them behind the scenes on our Instagram at MIDCONVO, you can tell that we film in all different places, and there will be times that me and Ed definitely hop on the podcast remotely, but again, he's just in town for a little bit.
Yep.
They're making it happen.
Yep.
But Corey, I just want to say what's so awesome about having you on the podcast is that I moved to Miami 3 months ago.
Yep.
And I reached out to you and I'm like, we gotta connect. And even looking back at years ago, as I kind of stepped into niching down my photography work into health, wellness, fitness, I would say, your work popped up all over Behance. And the topic of conversation today is definitely going to be around lighting and kind of hearing from you. What are some things that you've learned, you know, ever since you were shooting that dirt biking back in the day and mountain biking? But I want to hear from you, you know, how big of a role has Behance played in your work? And I ask because that's kind of how I discovered you.
Cool. Yeah, no, it's awesome you bring Behance up because literally I think that's kind of what shot me into being full-time.
Wow.
Was the work I got off Behance. So it's like,
That's cool.
you know, Instagram was kind of popping off when I was like growing, you could say. But, you know, I would get these messages on Behance from like these mega companies or like mega ad agency, you know, and it could just be something like, hey, we want to use your stuff in a deck, but like down the road, like maybe we'll work together. I'm like, yeah, go ahead and use it. That's awesome.
Totally.
But, you know, I had one project I landed from Behance where, you know, I made more than what my bank account ever seen on just like a 2-day shoot.
Dang.
And that shoot kind of was like, okay, we're doing this now, you know.
That's cool.
And what's crazy is like, I feel like not that many photographers are really on Behance, especially cinematographers. Like there's almost none on there, but that's where all the designers, that's where all the like ad agency people hang out, you know?
Yeah.
So that's really been like one of my main ways of marketing.
Wow.
which is crazy because I know you guys do things so much different than how I do it.
No, that's huge.
But
Well, what is Behance for some people? Like some people might be listening and not know what Behance is.
for sure.
Can you explain a little bit like what is it? Like what is Behance?
Yeah, I mean, I would say Behance is kind of like Facebook for the creative world. You can put projects up and like, follow people you like their work of and all that stuff. And the algorithm on it's really cool and like how it shows you new stuff. Like you pretty much always see things you want to see. Like you don't see any ads at all. There's no like pay to play stuff like with Instagram and Facebook now. So it's just like a really easy way to see cool work. And I think that's why so many people are on it. It's Adobe makes it or runs it, and it's a free site. So
I love that you hopped on that platform and used it to your advantage for marketing, because again, there's not many people using it for cinematography.
yeah, there's none.
It's from my experience on it. There's a lot of graphic design. You see a lot of incredible brand identity mock-ups.
Yep.
But from the photography space, it's cool because if you're listening to this and you're a photographer or videographer, Behance is a really good platform for layout too, for displaying work. You guys better get on it, especially because you've been able to prove that it does bring in leads. It does attract clients.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is that those people are naturally hanging out on there, and like they're gonna come across your work somehow, you know. And it's easy to get featured on the main page if you do like a cool project. I think I've been featured, I don't know, over 20 times on like their main pages, which is nuts because I'm like, you don't
Celebrity in the house.
It just happens, dude. You guys would do it as
Let's
well.
go.
So, each time that happens, like you get another
That's awesome,
inquiry or whatever. So
I love that.
I want to say it's obvious from your work too. Part of the reason why you're on this podcast episode is because we're going to talk about the value of lighting and understanding it and how it can improve your work. And from looking at your Behance and your portfolio, I also love how you have a tab that says like sweaty or sweat movement.
Oh yeah, I have like the fake sweat section, which is
sweat.
like way more lighting, and then I have like the grind, and then I have real sweat. So
Come
like,
on.
Dude, that's sick.
Yeah, real sweat's like my documentary stuff, whereas like actual people working out.
Yeah.
And then fake sweat's like the photo shoot stuff with like 7
Dude,
or 8
I love
lights
that.
and all kinds of, when I was like, oh, my niche is like the sports and fitness stuff. It's like pretty dumb having a portfolio named sports. You know what I mean? So I was like, what's like a interesting way, that I can, put my work in a portfolio.
I would love to hit on that a little bit because you did something that I feel like is a valuable takeaway for a lot of creators. Is you took an industry that was like sports, like getting footage of people sweating, things like that, and you put your own spin on it to make it interesting to prospective clients. And that's huge. Like you didn't just take your work and then throw it into a bucket called sports. You actually thought about it like, oh, this is kind of interesting, and you categorize it, you gave it some thought. So a lot of people, you need to start thinking like that if you're a creator. It's like, how do you stand out from the rest of the people, even though you're in an industry that a lot of people are maybe doing the same thing, right?
Yeah, for sure. And like to speak to that, I think especially to break into this industry, it's so crowded. Like you really need to be known for like one thing. And like the faster you can figure out what that is, like the faster you can start building portfolios for it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not that I don't shoot lifestyle or product or even real estate stuff. It's just that like, I want to be known as like the sports and fitness person, online.
Yeah.
I love that.
And I think that that's like a good takeaway, to just always try to
that's
niche
good.
down.
I think one thing that I want to know, and maybe a lot of listeners want to know, is let's talk lighting for a second.
Yep.
Like when I think of lighting, kind of scares me a little bit.
Same.
Because I'm somebody who started in portrait photography, shooting outdoors, never did in studio, shot weddings. I now shoot a lot of fitness content, and I just started understanding how to incorporate lighting into my own work within the last 3 years. I've been doing this for 10 years. I know Ed has been crushing the lighting game too for quite some time, but Ed, let's ask him a couple questions on that.
Yeah.
What was your introduction to lighting?
So I think from day one, I was like, knew I needed lighting.
Wow.
Like, cause like we were shooting these action photos in the woods. Like there was no way you had enough light to like freeze action, like we were shooting people doing backflips and like I'd get home, they're all blurry, because there's not enough light.
Well, bro, cause it was the Nikon.
Dude, it's cause like we were shooting
to like
the
150th
photos.
shutter.
Exactly. So like I would come home and be like, dude, how are these guys getting like the sharpest stuff ever?
Yep.
And this was when like the strobist movement was going on,
Yep.
which was like using these small little on-camera flashes. You would use
Yep.
them like remotely.
Yeah. Throw
So,
them in
dude,
the woods and then
Yeah.
hope they link.
Dude, every now and then. I actually built like this modifier with like this antenna that was this big on it to like make it work better, which was awesome.
Dang.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, like from day one, I was interested in lighting. The more I learned on it, the more I just kept wanting to learn. And I bought like 4 lights when I was like 14 years old for like $600. And,
Which lights?
the Alien Bee. Was it Alien Bee? It's like, is Alien Bee or their other one?
Some budget
White
lights. Some
Lightning
budget
something.
lights.
Wow.
Yeah. They were cheap. Some guy was selling them. Some portrait guy was selling like all his stuff. And so, you know, I would shoot in my parents' garage as like a studio
Yeah.
and just like absolutely overlight everything. Like one of the biggest thing in lighting is like taking away light, and like
yeah.
shadows are the most important thing,
Yeah.
right? That's how you see the highlights. And so, you know, I would put all these lights up and thought I needed to use 4 lights, but like, you know, it would just be the flattest photo in the world.
Yeah. Dude, can I just say, a lot of people, maybe Corey, you can build off of this.
Mhm.
What literally blew my mind when I was learning lighting was people don't realize it's not really about the lights necessarily, but it's how you shape and diffuse that light. Like
Yep.
when I realized that, you could have a LED light bulb, like trash, but if you can diffuse it properly, it'll look better than a hard light just from like a super expensive light. Like what are some foundational things you keep in mind? Let's say you roll up to a location.
Mm-hmm.
What are some things you keep in mind? Like, all right, how are we going to light this? Like, what are the things that are going through your mind? Because that's where a lot of creators, I think, struggle. They walk into a location, they're like, all right, well, grab the camera and can you go do this? And like, they don't know how to actually maneuver the light to their advantage.
For sure. I mean, I think if you're lighting on location, the easiest thing to think about is just like what's already there and like what can we add to? Because like the easiest way to make your lighting look fake is like lighting the opposite of what's already happening.
Yeah.
So like if a place has windows, like, yeah, maybe you can get away with a natural window light, but if you're shooting for 8 hours, that's going to change. You know what I mean? And like if you're shooting a 30-minute interview, the sun's going to be going in and out. So it's like, okay, what do we need? We need a continuous light that's going to mimic what these windows are doing.
Wow.
So I think the first thing to do when like walking into a space and like figuring out what you're going to do to light is like, what can we add on to what's already there? You know, and if, you know, the window's on the right side of the room, we're going to, you know, light from the right side of the room.
Totally.
And then
That's a good, I like that.
That's like the easiest. If you're going to have like one light, just think about what's natural and then make it look better.
Totally. I like that.
Yep. Got to motivate the light that's already there.
That's
That's what I learned from movies. So my buddy Brady was teaching this a lot to me because we were dialing in my YouTube setup. And he was like, we have this like orange light behind me. It's like a practical light, like in a lamp. And then we use like a actual orange light to light my shoulder. So it looks like the lamp, I guess in theory, would be lighting my shoulder, but there's no way that lamp is gonna light my shoulder. It's like it's not close enough. But it's like using what's already there and lighting that way.
It.
Because a lot of times I feel like when I was first starting out, the first thing I was thinking was output. It's like, how do we get this place just to look brighter? But sometimes it can look fake if you don't do it right.
Yeah,
even though it's brighter.
And you know, just like you said, motivating whatever you see is like, that's a really easy way to make your stuff look. I mean, that's what every single big movie does, right? They put these practicals in the background, but then it looks like that little candle is like perfectly edge lighting them. Dude, the candle's not doing a single thing. Like that's like some $8,000 light.
Totally.
You know, that's diffused and like everything's happening. So, for sure.
Good lighting is lighting that doesn't look like it's being lit.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
I want to bring up a quick question because this was me a couple years ago. I reached out to a few different friends of mine that have really been able to grab a hold of using different lighting techniques for their work. If someone is listening to this and they're like, I've only been using natural lighting, shooting outside, and I'm trying to figure out how to incorporate, a dope lighting setup for my own work. What would you recommend? Like, what is a starter pack, or what is like one light that you would recommend them having for their kit?
Yeah, with like a type or a wattage.
Okay. I mean, like I think the best option right now, even if you're stills or video based, is like the Aperture 300D or like the 600D.
Totally.
They're both extremely bright, and I think they're like less than $2,000, which is crazy for a continuous light that puts that much output. And I think if you're trying, even if you are a photographer, starting with continuous light is going to be way easier to see what it actually looks like in person, which I think starting with strobes, like, yeah, they're going to be cheaper. You're going to get more output out of them, but it's going to be a lot harder to like, you know, you're going to take a photo and then like look at it on the back of the camera instead of just being like, hey, let me put this thing in front of the light. It makes it nice and soft and whatever.
Yeah.
So I would definitely
That's
start
good.
there, you know.
I like that.
Any of the aperture stuff's awesome. Wish I was sponsored by them. That'd be cool.
Hey, wouldn't
Hey,
what I love about aperture is I got one of the aperture lights, and when I walk into a space, if the lighting's crap, I just shoot at the ceiling.
Dude, that happens on.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that for a second though? Because this man is not lying. Like, you guys think he's joking. Like, we're not.
No.
Like, this dude, he's a beast. Like, he shows up with one light.
I do, yeah.
He basically bounces the light in the space so it looks natural when he's shooting. And then these photos that Paul's get, it's money. Dude, I'm sure you've seen some of his work, but some of the stuff he has in his Pixie set with this lighting tactic we're talking about, money, absolute money.
What I love about it too, though, is it's versatile for photo and video.
Yep.
Again,
Yeah.
Corey said it. You don't need strobes if you have a solid lighting setup. And I almost like it because, I mean, we all have done it before where we flip the switch to photo and video while we're on set sometimes. And it's nice if it's a consistent lighting setup.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the future now. Like, you're going to get hired to do both on like all the upper level work. I mean, that's figuring out how to tie that in. And like, technology is making it so easy because like, you don't have to shoot ISO 160 anymore for like clear photos. You can shoot ISO
That's facts.
6,000. Like, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? So you don't need the strobe output anymore. And two, like, these LED lights are just so efficient. Like, you can run 5 or 6 of those in like a house, and you don't need like a mega generator outside that like the movies have. You know what I mean?
It's crazy because to your point, there's a loud car going by. Hold on.
Let's keep going.
So this video is brought to you by this break.
Aperture lighting.
Guys, let me just tell you, when we get sponsors on this podcast, about to be pumping them.
Yep.
Just kidding.
I'd say so I'm down to have like, lighting sponsor.
Yeah.
But your boy likes Sour Patch Kids and trolley bright crawlers.
Dude,
Dude.
I wish I brought some of those.
Hey,
That's my go-to
if you guys
on set. Put that on the rider.
If you guys have a plug for Sour Patch Kids, can you please connect us so we can get them sponsoring MIDCONVO?
Yep.
But what I was going to say was, I think it's crazy that these companies nowadays, like Aperture, Nanlite, whatever, all these camera companies, they're making such crazy professional tools so easily accessible for people who are just starting out. Like, it's insane. The barrier to entry is so much lower now. Like, back in the day, if you wanted to make a documentary or a filmmaking, like just make a short film, it sounded like fairy dust. It was like, oh, you have to be like a director or like a real movie filmmaker to do that. But now people can just buy a camera from B&H, buy one light, and go shoot something like a short film.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane. And I think to piggyback off of that, you have to be so good now.
Yeah.
Like, because everybody can do it. And there's some kid who's like really hungry, who's like learning everything he can on YouTube, and he's buying his like $1,000 aperture light, and he's like shooting every single day.
Yeah.
So the people that like came from kind of more when I started out, if you're not like continually progressing, dude, people are coming for those jobs. Because like the barrier to entry is so low now, like you said.
Yeah. I think I'd love to steer the conversation a little bit with on your business, Corey, like how you've been able to. So, like, you're coming out with some, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but you're coming out with some products, some core stuff.
Oh, no, it's not.
Okay, cool. So there's
Come on, let's leak it.
There's that portion.
Yep.
But also, just like, how have you been able to turn working for yourself into a full-time income?
Okay.
Because a lot of people struggle with that, especially in the technical kind of really into the filmmaking, like into the craft. Like, you're not just someone trying to make a quick buck. You're really into it, actually. Like, you love gear, you love lighting, you love all that stuff. And I know a lot of people personally who struggle with, they love the craft, just don't know how to turn it into a business. And you've been doing this for years now. So has there been any fundamental shifts for you that were like, okay, light bulb moment, and then you just started making money? Or was it just been a slow burn or slow grind for the last couple years?
I mean, I think I knew I wanted to do this when I was like 13 years old, right? And I was like literally writing my high school thesis on like, do you need to go to college for photography or not, you know? So I had a lot of time where like I didn't need to pay the bills, where I could be experimenting and like figuring out how I was going to make an income. And, you know, once I got out of high school, I was able to assist for Tim Tatter. He's like,
Wow.
he was one of my favorite photographers
Wow.
and all that. And I think working on set as much as you can, like even if you have a 9-to-5 job, like try to do it on the weekends.
Yep.
That's like the best transition into working full time in this industry, because like you're going to see, you know, how the top level people do it, who make a living doing it. You know, you're going to learn skills from them, and you're also going to be able to pay your bills. I mean, like a digital tech on set makes like $1,000 a day. Dude, you do that 4 to 6 times a month, like you're set.
You're Gucci.
You know what I mean? So I kind of like came up through the assisting path, you could say. And that made, you know, the transition easy, because like I was shooting on my own, I was building up clients, but I still had like all my bills taken care of from something where I was actually still learning and networking and all that kind of stuff.
Wow, I like that.
I know you guys have like probably way different stories on business and stuff, but for me, like I've never written like a pitch. Like I've never like pitched a client, which is like
crazy.
Like I'm like, I should do it.
That's crazy.
Like, but for me, I was always about like putting my work in front of the right people that would hire me. And two, there's just been like these shoots where like one shoot led to like, I don't know, like half my income over the last 6 years. You know what I mean? Just from the people you meet from it and all that kind of stuff. So I think like if you have the skills and you have the work and you're getting it out there, like the jobs will come. That's, you know, if people need to hire you for like whatever they're shooting, you know,
there's a lot of
person.
Value points in that, because I mean, you touched on it. You assisted in order to gain that knowledge by doing all different sorts of things, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And then you got your reps in. That's something we've talked about on the MIDCONVO podcast before, is if you're trying to become an expert at something, you got to get your reps in.
Yeah,
that's true.
You're not going to get strong overnight. You got to hit the gym.
Yeah.
And then also you touched on something that I feel like is extremely important. And it's, if you're busy, if you know, work a 9-to-5, or you want to like take that leap, burn the midnight oil. Like
you have to.
Your work, I mean, even you've told me this before off the mic, but spec work, like a lot of the work that you've scored is spec work.
Yeah. I mean, you a lot of times like the stuff clients are going to hire you for, especially when you're starting out, like isn't going to be that cool. You know what I mean? And like, that's not the work that's going to get you hired for more work. So you have to like go out and try to recreate the work you want to actually be shooting. And you'd be surprised at like how much easier it is when a client isn't involved. You know what I mean? Because like you can do things so scrappy. Like you don't need catering. You know what I mean? So,
dude, there was such a major gem what you just said just now. It's, if you don't have the clients, go out there and recreate the work you want to be shooting.
Yep.
Wow.
Like, take that, guys. Take that for real, because it's so valuable. Like if you're not shooting with the clients you want to be shooting with, go out there and make it happen. Like create a spec portfolio to attract those clients. It's like, you can't want to work with a client like then you've never even done anything remotely close to their world. Yeah. It just doesn't make sense.
Wow,
why would they hire you if you literally don't have a body of work that is in that industry, in that niche? Yeah. It's like wishing for something that's honestly never going to happen. It might, but that's just sheer luck if that happens at that point, you know?
Yeah, it's honestly like your portfolio is the most important thing. And I think like when you're starting out, like, and you have a 9-to-5 or you're working on set, like forget trying to get small clients. Like unless they're really going to be paying you something you can make a career out of, like clients are never going to pay you more, right? So like once you start working out at a certain price, like it's probably just going to go down from what I found. But so I would spend all of my time and even money I was making, like extra money, like do these insane portfolio shoots, like come up with something that like might go viral on the internet.
Yeah.
You know, when we worked with Tim, we had some free time when I was interning there, and we came up with this like water balloon thing. We were like blowing up water balloons on people's heads, and we were using like sound triggers to set off the lights. Nice. But dude, that led to like, I don't know, probably $200,000 for him or something crazy.
Wow.
Like we shot like 7 things in a row. And then like, you know,
awesome.
Every major brand had the same thing going on, which was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, those portfolio shoots go so much further than you think. And they're easy, they're fun to do. Like you like shooting, you should be out doing it.
That's awesome. And I love it because you create that spec work out of like passion and your creativity. So when clients reach out and say, hey, we want something like that, or hey, this caught our eye, you're like, yeah, like that's something I can do.
Yep.
So it just
true.
makes it so you don't have to convince people to hire you.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a great position to be in as a business owner, is how do you make it so you're not having to overly convince them on what you can deliver, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because it's a really easy conversation if you have a body of work that they like, because they'll just be like, can you just recreate that? We really love that.
Yep.
It's such an easy conversation versus if you are trying to finesse and you don't actually have a portfolio, those discovery calls are so long. You got to start putting together a bunch of boards, a bunch of mood boards. Like you got to create this whole thing that you've never done.
Yep.
And that's when I think you don't produce your best work. But if you're just in the wheelhouse of stuff you've already done, those clients are so easy to talk to. It's easy to charge more money because you've already done that. You know what it takes to put something like that together.
Yep.
So yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, for sure. And just to back up what you said, I mean, I am the worst when it comes to sales and marketing stuff. But
Come
like
on,
if you married up like a good portfolio with that, like, you know, writing those pitches and all that kind of stuff, dude, there's like no telling where you'd be, you know?
Yeah.
So
All right, you're lying though. You're actually good at pricing because
I'm good at pricing.
I've
I'm
seen
good at
some of the
like the
gigs you're on.
business stuff, but like the actual, you know, writing a client, cold calling them and stuff,
Yeah.
dude, like I need to watch your course.
All right, story
That's
time.
awesome.
Can you tell us?
yeah, we want to hear. A
Yeah,
juicy
what is
story.
like what is like what is one of the craziest stories you've had on set, or maybe one of the craziest clients that you've landed where either you were shocked by yourself or it's just something that sticks out in your memory?
Okay. So anyone that's like worked in Asia can probably relate to this story.
Dang.
But I flew to Thailand for a shoot with Adidas China.
We're going international now.
Yeah,
we just
it was,
flew to
we
China.
were shooting in Bangkok. It was it
Whoa,
was sweet.
dang!
You were eating good.
Shooting with Adidas?
Yeah, Adidas China.
Dang,
So-
dude.
This shoot was wild because like productions here for Adidas are big. Like there's a lot of people on set and stuff. But dude, for whatever reason out there, I don't know if it's just cheaper to hire people. There's like 50 people on set, dude. I had like 11 guys,
50?
I think, for lighting. Like I have like a photo of them. There's like 7 reflectors they're holding, and there's like 6 other guys like setting things up.
Dude, that's crazy.
And so like I was flying out there and I missed my flight by 30 minutes, my connection in LAX. So I fly Miami, LAX, and then they're like, all right, the only way to get you there soon is like to fly to London. So I fly the other way around the world.
Oh my god.
I get there, that flight gets delayed 7 hours. So I'm like 30 something hours into traveling. And then I finally get on that flight, which is like another 12-hour flight or something. It takes me 55 hours to get to Thailand.
Whoa.
And dude, the second I get there, I'm like, oh, I'll be able to like go to the hotel. Cause like that was the scout day.
Yeah.
We were scouting and it was
Yep.
like a natural light. It wasn't going to be like a hard scout. They're like, no, like you need to come straight to set, like to scout. And I was like, dude, I was so sick. Like I felt terrible. And so whatever, we go out there and then like we sit through like a 2-hour pre-production meeting. And like, I'll probably never get hired by Adidas China again, but maybe they won't listen to this. Or it was the agency that did this. She was making like the art director act out the facial expressions that the model was going to be doing the next day. So like I'm
Wow.
delirious, dude. And I'm like trying so hard not to crack up. Cause like this art director who is like cool and hired me is like making faces in front of a room with 20 people.
Dang.
Yo, FedEx driving so slow in front of the
Oh,
house
yeah.
right now.
You got to
Like,
drop off or something.
Hey,
It's
I got a new coffee machine showing
Is this
up.
for you, dude? Oh, shout out to Paul for having FedEx come in the middle of our
Yeah,
podcast.
1 second. I've been Sammy's been bugging me about this package though.
So yeah, we scout all day, and then I'm like, oh, I'm so ready to go to bed. I'm so ready to go to bed. And it's like, no, we have a 2-hour pre-production meeting. And so I've been up for, I don't even know how long. I don't sleep on planes. And we're in the middle of the meeting, and we get to like the facial expressions of the talent, which like usually on most shoots, like you don't even go over that. But literally there's like
Yeah,
that's
so
spreads
detailed.
in their pre-production book on like the faces. So the art director who hired me is like standing in front of a room of 20 people, like making the fitness expressions that the model's gonna be doing the next day. And I'm like trying so hard not to
Dude,
laugh. Like,
Why
I'm
do
like,
I just imagine just someone in front of a room with 20 people being like,
that's what it was, dude. And like she
gotta be
made him
kidding me.
redo a bunch. Like some weren't good enough.
Dude,
I was like,
what?
this guy, like, I don't know.
dude, jeez.
So
Oh man, the poor talent the next day were probably like, wait.
it was like
What's
a
going on?
celebrity talent, so they didn't like
Well,
tell
yeah.
him anything.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that was crazy. And then the last part of the story was on set the next day, like I had a guy carrying like a portable air conditioning unit and someone like holding an umbrella like over my head all day, which was pretty sweet. Like I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want that on every shoot.
Wow.
That happened once.
Was it hot?
It wasn't like Miami hot, but it was warm.
An air conditioning unit.
Dude, it was.
About to put that into the budget now.
Yeah, just like add it as a line item.
Well, what's funny is like I
That's
do
awesome.
that shoot and there's all those people there,
Yeah.
and then like I fly home and shoot something by myself.
Yeah.
And I make similar.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Well,
It's like,
one thing I would love to ask you, Corey, on the topic of this shoot too, is I feel like when I was first starting out too, I aspired to shoot on big sets. Like, well, it'd be so cool to work on a crew with a lighting guy and a gaffer and assistant, all that kind of stuff. What has been your experience? Do you prefer working on a big set like that, or do you still have fun keeping it scrappy and having like a crew of 2-3 people banging out like a killer video? Like, what is your perspective on big shoots versus scrappy, like smaller shoots?
for sure. And I think that like most people, like if you've never worked on a big set, it's probably like the most intimidating thing. It's like your name's at the top of the call sheet and there's like, 10 people below you that are like you're responsible for.
Wow.
And like, yeah, the first time is going to be kind of nerve wracking, but I'm like less nervous going into shoots like that versus like, a company sending me a product and just going out and shooting it.
Oh, yeah.
Because like your responsibilities on that, it's like, okay,
you share the
like,
weight when you're on a big crew.
figure out where the model parks. You know what I mean? There's like so much more stress involved.
That's true.
With shooting small stuff. But when it's those big shoots, dude, it's like you show up and like you're there for your skills and like the things that you actually know. And so honestly, like it's really, really nice, but like it's still super fun to just like get with your homies and go shoot a cool spec thing.
Yeah.
And like those aren't nerve wracking, obviously, if it's just for yourself.
Yeah.
But I like doing it all. It's not one or the other.
I love that perspective.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely feel like for me personally, I have felt that stress before. Like when you keep it scrappy, it's kind of nice because there's a small crew. But then, like you said, you're worrying about everything. Is talent eating? Where are they parking? Like, are we gonna have to extend the time on this location right now?
Yep.
Like all those things that you just don't want to think about.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think the worst experience I had, like producing a shoot, doing whatever, it was still like a bigger shoot. Like there was a client agency there, but like I somehow got talked into producing it myself, which is like
Wow.
dude, it was literally a nightmare. Like I wanted to quit photography that week. Like I was up 12 hours a day planning it.
Wow.
It was with Ronda Rousey. It was like an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
Whoa,
And they're
what
like,
the?
well, dude, what?
Hey, the casual name drop there.
Yeah.
Dude,
It was
that's
her,
wild.
her and John Jones. It was
Wow.
cool. That was like one of my
Wow.
first celebrity things.
Wow,
That's really cool.
But yeah, they're like, oh, like when's Rhonda's driver gonna pick her up? I was like, what do you mean? They're like, yeah, you need to hire a car service for her. Dude, it was just
Oh my
all these things that
gosh,
kept
dude.
coming up, dude. And I got to the point like I didn't sleep at all before the shoot, and the wardrobe stylist was like, hey, do you have wardrobe racks? Like they're not here. I literally like took them out of the hotel room, like the little wardrobe hanger.
Wow.
And it's like
You made
don't
it
need to be
happen.
doing that. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're here at like 36. Actually, I don't know when this is edited where we're at, but
Mm-hmm.
what should we take this podcast about? Should we wrap it up here? Go with some closing statements?
I think so.
All right. Well, Corey, can you tell us a little bit about what you're working on right now? Love to. Oh, this light.
Nice little
Oh,
light
got a little
popping
nice
in
popping in.
Dang.
That'll
That'll
be
be watching the YouTube. Check out Corey. He's
There-
got the spotlight.
You're about to get it
It'll
too.
be fun to edit. There's like this crazy light leak coming in right now. But yeah, can you tell us a little about what you're currently working on, where you're headed, and also like where people can find you?
Yeah, for sure. So easiest place to find me is on Instagram, just Corey Jenkins Photo. And what I've been working on for like the last month and a half, actually, with like any free time I had, is actually a course on, going full time in freelance photography or
Nice.
cinematography.
That's amazing.
And I've wanted to teach stuff forever. I just like never had the motivation or time to do it. And actually, after meeting Paul a few months ago, he was telling me about his
Hey.
course,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, dude, I just need to do it. So like
Yeah.
my 2022 goals were like come out with at least one course, see how you like doing it, and then
That's amazing.
so this one's more on business. We go over like everything, like even like how to do your taxes and stuff. But
Fire.
hopefully
Wow.
do another one on lighting and shooting, production kind of stuff.
That's amazing.
So yeah, that's what I've been up to, and still got plenty of work coming in. So
That's fire.
We'll see when it actually gets done.
Yeah, we appreciate you. And also, I'm signing up for the course.
Yeah, dude. Can I get a discount code?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Because here's the deal, like, This dude's the GOAT when it comes to photo and video.
Yeah.
And like, as he's talking about, you know, his ideal crew setup,
Yeah.
I aspire to be a part of bigger crews like that because I'm a little bit scrappy.
Yeah.
So Corey, I'm so stoked to have you on the podcast. Me and Edward, when we found out that it was, you know, there was a possibility that you'd be on it, we're like, oh, we're talking about lighting, and we're also just gonna pick your brain a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Hey, did you even listen to our own episode? You know we don't use that word here. That terminology. Pick your brain. Come on now. Shh. You guys don't know what we're talking
for hours.
Hey,
on this,
it's such an inside joke. If you guys know what we're talking about, go listen to the last episode.
Yep.
But dude, Corey. Also, I just want to mention, Corey's such a humble guy. Like he's worked with some big people, guys, like in some big brands, and we only dropped a few of them. But if you guys, I would really encourage you to check out his Instagram, check out his Behance, and just check out his work because it's fire.
Appreciate that. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, shoot Corey a DM if you have any questions, and stay tuned for his course.
For sure.
Thanks for listening, guys. Peace.
Boop.